All right, so welcome to another deep dive.
Yes, indeed.
And this one is going to be a wild one.
Yeah, buckle up.
So we're going to be talking about Catherine Shelton today. And,
Catherine Shelton.
oh, yeah.
A Texas woman of mystery
For sure.
and possible mayhem.
Absolutely.
The source material that we have for you today is excerpts from a 48 Hours episode on YouTube.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and they did a really deep dive on this woman, and there's just so many twists and turns. It's just incredible.
Yeah, we should just right off the bat tell everybody this is going to be a multi-parter.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely a three-parter.
Yeah, because there is just so much material.
So much, and it spans decades.
Yeah, and it spans decades, and it just gets crazier and crazier as we go along.
Yeah, it's really something.
So, Catherine Shelton, who is she? Let's start with the basics.
She was a criminal defense attorney in Houston back in the 1970s.
Okay.
And she was known to be very intelligent, beautiful,
Oh, yeah.
and charismatic.
So the whole package.
Yeah, so the whole package.
But there seems to be a little bit of a darker side to her.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, like a touch of evil, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that called her the prettiest criminal defense lawyer in Harris County. But there were also people that just had this bad feeling about her, like she was dangerous.
Yeah, and that's interesting that people just had this intuitive sense about her.
Yeah, and there's a story about a fellow attorney, Robert Pelton.
How? Tell me about that one.
Yeah, he claimed that she was trying to stage a suicide
What?
and take him down with her.
What?
Yeah, he said that she grabbed his tie and pulled him toward this open window
Oh,
on the 4th floor of the courthouse
no way.
and yelled, "You're gonna die with me."
Wow, that's dramatic.
It's very dramatic.
Yeah, and of course she denies this.
Of course she denies it, yeah.
But it definitely raises questions about her temperament, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And her capacity for theatrics,
Absolutely.
because it seems to be a running theme.
Okay, well, let's talk about the death of one of her ex-boyfriends, Dr. George Tedesco.
Yeah, that was a big one. And it's unsolved.
Yeah.
He was found beaten to death in his garage.
Now, was that a robbery?
So it didn't appear to be a robbery, and the timing was very suspicious.
In what way?
So the day that he was murdered was the same day that he was supposed to appear in court for a lawsuit that she had filed against him.
What was the suit about?
She was claiming common law marriage and wanted part of his estate.
So that definitely seems like motive right there.
Yeah, so there's motive right there.
Now, the crime scene itself, did it point to anything more personal?
It didn't appear to be a robbery, like I said. And then the weapon was a tire iron that was found at the scene. And there had been previous reports of fights between the two of them. And she was even accused of stalking him.
Oh.
So things weren't good between them.
No.
And there's also this really strange thing that happened after the murder.
Oh, what was that?
She broke into his house with a lawyer
She broke into his house
to retrieve her belongings.
with a lawyer.
Yeah, with a lawyer.
Okay.
And she took some items, including cash and a sword.
Okay, so the cash, I understand. I mean, she was claiming common law marriage.
Yeah.
So maybe that was part of her, thinking. But a sword?
Yeah, a sword.
Why would she need to take that?
Well, she never really explained why she took those items, but they were noted as being missing.
Wow, that's weird.
It is weird.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a suspicious death. We've got a possible motive.
And there are also some secretly recorded phone calls of Catherine.
What did she say on those?
Well, she was talking to another ex-boyfriend, and she was expressing rage toward him.
What kind of things was she saying?
Like, "You got too big for my mercy."
Okay, so that's pretty chilling, I have to say.
Yeah, very chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so this is where things get even more complicated.
Oh, yeah, they do.
So let's talk about Gary Taylor.
Gary Taylor.
He was a newspaper reporter covering the Tedesco case.
Right.
And he ends up in a romantic relationship with Catherine.
Talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time, right?
Right.
Like, he's covering this murder case, and he gets involved with this woman who's a possible suspect.
Right.
I mean, what could go wrong?
Exactly.
But yeah, they ended up in a romantic relationship.
So tell me about their relationship.
It was pretty turbulent.
Wayne,
Well, he described her as volatile and unpredictable.
give me an example.
Well, he said once she ripped apart a suitcase in a fit of rage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then he also said that he found a pistol on her nightstand.
Oh, okay. So that's a little alarming.
A little bit, yeah.
So then they break up,
Right.
and Taylor starts to fear for his safety.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. So he decides to start working with the DA's office to secretly record her.
And that's when they got that infamous line, "He's not too big for my mercy."
Oh, gosh. That's so creepy.
Yeah. It's very creepy and chilling.
Yeah, so it doesn't directly implicate her in anything specific,
No,
but it definitely adds to the growing suspicion around her.
it really does.
And then things get even worse.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Because she ends up shooting Taylor
She shoots him in the back
in the back.
after luring him back to her home
What? How did she lure him back?
with the promise of returning some stolen goods.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So she shoots him in the back.
Yep.
What happened then?
So she claims self-defense,
Okay.
and she is eventually convicted.
For the shooting.
Yes.
But her conviction is overturned.
It was overturned later on.
Wow. So this is a case full of twists and turns.
Yeah.
But the fact remains that he was shot in the back.
He was shot in the back, and the circumstances surrounding the shooting are extremely suspicious.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so then we have yet another suspicious death.
Yes, we do.
And this time it's Tommy Bell,
Right.
who was initially a suspect in the Tedesco murder.
He was.
So he's found dead.
From a gunshot wound to the head.
And how did they rule that?
They ruled it a suicide by Russian roulette.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Bell was a former client of Catherine's.
No kidding.
And a private investigator would later discover that Bell's roommate,
Okay.
who was also dating Catherine.
Wait, Catherine was dating his roommate.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Had his fingerprints on the gun.
So her former client and her current boyfriend are involved in a supposed Russian roulette suicide.
That's right.
That just seems
That's a little too coincidental, don't you think?
a little too coincidental, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just another one of those strange deaths that's connected to Catherine Shelton.
Yeah. And at this point, you really can't ignore the pattern.
It's hard to ignore, right?
Right.
Like anyone that gets close to this woman
Yeah.
ends up either dead or in serious trouble.
Wow. Okay, so she eventually marries a man named Clint Shelton,
Yes, she does.
and they move to Dallas.
That's right.
Where she resumes her law practice.
Yeah.
But even a change of scenery doesn't seem to stop the strange events surrounding her life.
It does not. Not at all.
So we're going to get into all of that in part 2 of our deep dive into the story of Catherine Shelton. They moved to Dallas for a fresh start.
Yeah, you would think that would be the end of it,
Yeah.
but it's not.
No.
Nope. So we have another man
Okay.
connected to Catherine
Uh-huh.
who ends up dead.
Oh, no.
This time it's a contractor working for her named Chris Hansen.
Okay, and how does he die?
Well, this is where it gets a little bizarre.
Right.
He's found naked
Naked.
in a house that she owned.
Okay.
And the official ruling is accidental death by autoerotic asphyxiation.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
But it's pretty rare, isn't it?
It is rare. And,
Yeah.
you start to think about all these suspicious deaths
Right.
surrounding this woman, and you wonder if maybe there's more to this story
Yeah,
after she
yeah.
meets the eye.
Yeah, like maybe somebody made it look like an accident.
Possibly.
Okay, well, speaking of suspicious deaths,
Yes.
we have to talk about the Marissa and Michael Hero shooting.
That was really disturbing.
Yeah. So what happened?
So Marissa had worked for Catherine,
Okay.
but she left to start her own business, and things got pretty ugly between them.
Right.
And then Marissa and her husband Michael were ambushed and shot as they were pulling into their driveway.
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying.
It's awful.
Yeah. Marissa survived,
Okay.
but her husband was killed.
Oh my gosh.
And there's the 911 call from that night,
Oh, really?
and you can just hear the terror in Marissa's voice.
Wow.
She even claims to recognize the shooter's voice as Catherine's.
Oh, wow. Okay, so was Catherine charged?
She was never charged in connection with the shooting,
Okay.
but Clint, her husband, was arrested and convicted.
For the shooting.
For the shooting, yes.
But what was his motive?
That's the thing, he didn't seem to have any personal motive.
So why did he do it?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Catherine, on the other hand, did have a motive.
Oh, what was it?
The business dispute and the escalating tension with Marissa.
Oh, wow. Okay, so did she maybe manipulate Clint into doing it? I mean, it's certainly possible.
Yeah.
She was known to be very manipulative.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so after this, Catherine's eventually disbarred.
That's right.
And then she focuses her efforts on getting Clint released from prison.
Yep. That seems to be her main focus.
Okay.
But even with all that going on,
Uh-huh.
she can't seem to stay out of trouble.
Oh no, what happens this time?
So this one involves the death of Sam Shelton.
Yep.
He was an elderly veteran who was living with Catherine, and he died during Hurricane Harvey.
Okay, so a natural disaster. Very tragic.
Yes, very tragic.
So how does she get into trouble because of that?
Well, after his death, she commits fraud
Oh no, what does she do?
by signing his name on a lease application.
Oh wow, okay, so it really seems like...
It doesn't matter where she goes
Yeah.
or what she does.
Right.
Trouble just seems to follow her.
It's incredible.
It is.
So we've got all these allegations, all these suspicious deaths,
Huh?
so many contradictory statements. What does Catherine have to say about all of this?
Well, she's always denied any involvement in the deaths connected to her. She claims that she's just a victim of circumstance.
Okay.
A woman who's been unfairly targeted and vilified.
Right.
And in some of the interviews, she even offers up a DNA sample.
A DNA sample?
Yeah, almost like as a taunt.
Like a challenge?
Yeah, like a challenge, like, dare you to prove I'm guilty.
Oh my gosh.
So it's really this mix of defiance and manipulation with her.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
On one hand, she comes off as this strong, independent woman who refuses to be silenced.
Right.
But then on the other hand, you get this sense that she's playing a game.
Yeah, like she enjoys the attention.
Yeah, she's enjoying the notoriety.
Yeah, it's a mind game.
Totally.
What's even more intriguing is that her explanations for some of these incidents have changed over time.
Oh, yeah, like which one, for instance?
Well, the Gary Taylor shooting,
Oh, yeah.
her story about what happened that night,
Uh-huh.
it's shifted over the years.
It's changed.
So it's hard to know what to believe.
Right. You don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
What's the truth?
Yeah, and it really casts doubt on her credibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so here we are.
Yep.
We've sifted through all these decades
Decades. Yeah.
of alleged crimes, suspicious deaths,
Right.
contradictory statements.
Yeah. What are we left with?
What are we supposed to make of all this? Is she a criminal mastermind or just the unluckiest woman alive?
It's a tough call, really. You know, after looking at all this stuff, I mean, there's a lot of suspicion around this lady, but, you know, can we say for sure there's fire, not just smoke? Like, let's go back to George Tedesco.
Yeah.
That timing, the day he's supposed to be in court against her.
Yeah, super suspicious.
And then she breaks into his house, takes cash and a sword.
I know.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then that line from the recording, he's not too big for my mercy. Like, that's chilling,
It gives me chills.
considering everything else, you know.
Yeah.
It's really ominous.
Okay, and Gary Taylor, he was shot in the back.
Yeah. Even though they overturned the conviction. You gotta wonder.
Yeah. And he was a journalist, right?
Yeah. Covering the Tedesco case.
So he was in the thick of it.
He knew all the rumors, got involved with her anyway,
Why would he make up a story like that?
especially while working with the DA. Right.
Yeah, it doesn't add up. And then Clint takes the fall for the hero shooting.
Right. No motive. What did he have to gain?
Exactly. But Catherine, she had a motive. Doesn't make any friends.
So, if she is behind all this,
Yeah.
how has she gotten away with it so long?
That's what I want to know. It's like, she's good.
Maybe she's just that good, you know, a master manipulator. Or maybe, just maybe, there really isn't enough hard evidence to actually nail her down, you know, beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, but she keeps putting herself out there, giving
Yeah.
interviews, denying everything, the DNA sample thing.
It's wild, right? She's playing a game.
I know, with the cops, with everyone.
Like, catch me if you can.
So where do we go from here? What do we do with all this information?
Well, I think all we can do is what we've done. Think it through, the evidence, and decide for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Is she a stone cold killer who's been outsmarting everyone for years?
Or is she just the unluckiest woman in Texas? I mean, come on.
Yeah. But that's what makes cases like this so interesting, right?
Totally.
They make you think hard, look at the evidence.
Yeah,
And sometimes you just got to live with not knowing for sure.
that's true. Okay, so we've got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
But before we do, one last thought.
Okay, hit me.
Sam Shelton. That last incident.
Yeah. Hurricane Harvey.
Tragic, obviously, but was it really just an accident?
Good question. Something to think about, folks.
Yeah, maybe there's more to that story.
There's a ton of info out there about Catherine Shelton if you want to do some digging on your own.
Yeah, who knows what else might be out there.
So there you have it. The life and alleged crimes of Catherine Shelton.
Yeah, a woman shrouded in mystery.
A trail of unanswered questions, for sure.
It's been a wild ride, this deep dive.
It has.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
And keep those detective hats on, you know? Never stop searching for the truth.
Absolutely.